welcome back to the NAS Metal production channel here at YouTube. Welcome to another album of the week. This, of course, is episode number 34. So, for this episode, we are definitely looking at another milestone in history. That's, of course, this is more so, instead of 30 years, is 40 years. That's, of course, is the debut from, of course, new wave or British heavy metal legends, or at this point, heavy metal legends Saxon's debut album, of course, being self-titled. I should definitely let that. Wow, 40 years for this album, 40 years, and at this point, being of course at tomorrow will mark its anniversary, because this was released on May 21st. In 1979. Again, 40 years. Damn. Especially for probably not one of the band's best albums, but sure is the album that definitely put their name right on the map with this album. Because after this, especially if you're looking at here at 2019, the band's still going strong. The band has never split up, really. They've all kept going. It's pretty much a steam engine that just will not die off. It just will not break down or anything. That's how crazy it is from this debut album release in May 21st, 1979, to, of course, here on May 20th of 2019. If you look at the history books for at least Saxon, and as far as the lineup, sure, there might have been some different lineup changes, but never has this band ever split up, nor taken a big long break. It just shows the level of consistency and just level of just never say die from this band. And again, it just begins with this album, because this was really one of the first times, at least over in the UK, that people actually heard anything on record from this band. And if anyone was ever browsing the records, and maybe here in the US, they probably would have saw the cover of this album, just with this Viking Anglo-Saxon, who, of course, to me always looked like Biff Byford, the main guy of this band, the main vocalist, the front man, just holding the sword and the shield and everything, and just, I think it pretty much put a real good vision. But really, if anyone ever got a sort of taste, at least a good taste of Saxon, would have been on the follow-up albums after this one, which definitely you can say are definitely by far more better than the sound, because this band in a way definitely got better with each album, unless you reach a certain point in the band's history, mostly that late 80s to maybe slightly early 90s period. Even though I actually think they really got to really kind of get back on track with albums such as Solid Ball of Rock up until like Dogs of War, and of course Unleash the Beast in 1997. But still, you gotta go back to the very first album, because this is the album that definitely put their name right out there. Even though, again, they were breaking out in the clubs and everything. That may probably as far back as when they first formed, because in 1970, they originally formed under the name Blue Condition, according to the Metal Archives here. And that was from like 1970 to 1976 here. Which Biff Byford didn't really join the band until when they started as SOB, or changed their name to SOB from 1976 to 1977, and then from 1977 to 1978, they still went under the name, just, I guess, longer. But by 78, they rechanged the name to Saxon, and history was just made. And again, this was the first thing they ever released under their newfound name, Saxon. Just amazing and everything, how this, and all this. What really can be said about Saxon's debut? It's definitely a rough sounding album. Not the most even though it's because of the time this was released, it definitely has its 70s influence, especially the first two songs here, Rainbow Theme and Frozen Rainbow, all got that sort of proggy kind of feel. And some of the stuff got that sort of glammy boogie kind of feel that you expected from maybe bands like Geordie, Slade, The Sweet, and Mott the Hoople, and T-Rex, and some of these bands. That you kind of get mostly with the song Big Teaser, and maybe Stallions of the Highway or Back to the Wall Still Fit the Boogie, some of these songs. Though Stallions of the Highway is definitely one of the more tougher sounding Saxon songs that kind of showed, and kind of in a way, kind of gave the listener in more of an insight of their attitude, which was definitely would be even more embraced on the album after this, like Wheels of Steel and so on. Which of course I have did an album of the week spotlight on Wheels of Steel. Anyways, just everything, it just kind of showed the attitude of the band. And again, there's still some songs in here that I like. I think probably my favorite track off this album is Judgment Day. I've always kind of liked it. Again, it just starts out like your typical sort of boogie rock kind of song, but then when it hits that last part of the track before it ends out in that sort of bluesy sort of note, always kind of reminded me a bit of an insight and maybe see what the structuring of maybe songs like Strong Arm of the Law or even Hungry Years off of Strong Arm of the Law. Again, just got that same beat and it's definitely good. Though another thing, I think the reason why that sound has such a bit of a sort of a raw kind of feel to it is from the production, which of course the album was produced by John Verity, who of course would later on would produce Tank's This Means War, and of course even produced an album from Marzile, another sort of early new wave or British heavy metal band. So again, got a lot. It's just. Again, it's why it's got such a weird sort of production. If you've ever heard the demo version of these, where they that the band ended up putting on, what was it, that Diamonds and Nuggets comp, which those songs were initially recorded when they were known as Son of a Bitch, but the production on those and the sound quality I think sound way better than the actual studio versions here. Even though they were studio demos, but they just sound much more. A little bit more tougher sounding on here and sound more so closer to, or at least in the terms of production, the guitar tune and everything, a little more closer to what you expect from like Wheels of Steel and Strong Arm of the Law and Denim and Leather, those albums. But here it's just got a bit of a weird sort of guitar tone and everything. But again, rough patches, but this was the album that the band pretty much unleashed upon the world and gave everyone a sort of a pretty much the first taste of what these guys were about before they really went on to become a pretty much legends and a mainstay within the annals of heavy metal history. Definitely, I would say I'll put these guys pretty much, because of some of their later output, I pretty much would say they definitely belong next to bands such as Judas Priest and Motorhead and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. And just all these classic bands, they definitely deserve to be up there. So with that, I can go on for as very long as I can with this. Again, 40 years ago, the sound was released. And what a legacy this band definitely left. And they're still going on. Their last album being Thunderbolt was released on February 2nd, 2018. And again, that's already a year-old album right now. And again, February 2nd, 2018, and their very first album dates back, again, May 21st of 1979. Just because of that, definitely hold them glasses high. And again, 40 years for this band, though you can definitely say this can be almost like almost 44, 43. You can almost say almost close to 50 years for this band in a way, close, because they initially starting out as Blue Condition, but again, probably close to 45 or 46 years or 43 years of heavy metal thunder. So with that, hope you all enjoyed this album of the week spotlight. Definitely Again, just while this may not be the very best sound, because again, better things were to come after this album, but still gotta at least have to take a look back and just more so reminisce and raise a glass to such a milestone in the history, at least in the band's history. So until then, hope you all enjoyed this Heavy Thrash. I say I'm out. I'll see you all again here real soon. Take care, everyone.